The sands of Geonosis run red, not with the blood of droids or clones, but with the blood of a Jedi Master. Obi-Wan Kenobi, patient, steady, unshakable, lies still on the arena floor. A Geonosian spear. A single, brutal moment. And just like that, he is gone. The battle rages on around him. Clone troopers pour in from every direction. Gunships scream across the sky. Mace Windu leads the charge. The Separatists are pushed back. By every military measure, the Republic wins the day. But Anakin Skywalker doesn't feel like a winner. He kneels beside his master. His hands are shaking. His jaw is tight. Every instinct he has ever been trained to suppress is rising up inside him all at once. Grief, fury, a pain so deep it doesn't have a name yet. Obi-Wan was more than a teacher. He was the voice that said, "Slow down." The hand on the shoulder that said, "Not like this." The one person in the Jedi Order who truly understood Anakin and loved him anyway, even when the rules made it hard. And now that voice is gone. Forever. The Jedi Council mourns with dignity. They speak of sacrifice, of the Force, of carrying on. Master Yoda bows his head. But Anakin doesn't want dignity. He doesn't want wisdom. He wants answers the Jedi cannot give him. Padme holds him that night, in silence, on the transport back to Coruscant. She can feel it, something shifting inside him. Something that wasn't there before. Something that frightens her. The Republic celebrates its first great victory of the Clone Wars. Nobody notices the look in Anakin Skywalker's eyes. Nobody notices that something in him just broke. 3 weeks after Geonosis, Anakin Skywalker sits alone in a training room on the Jedi Temple. Every practice drone he has launched into the air lies shattered on the floor around him. He doesn't stop. He sends another one up. He destroys it before it even levels out. The Jedi Council watches through the observation screen above. Nobody speaks for a long moment. Finally, Mace Windu breaks the silence. He is not grieving. He is burning. They had already tried reassignment. Master Ki-Adi-Mundi spent 2 days attempting to guide Anakin through combat drills. Anakin barely acknowledged him. Master Shakti tried a softer approach. Meditation, patience, careful conversation. Anakin walked out mid-session without a single word. The council was running out of options. What they didn't know, what nobody in that temple fully understood yet, was that Anakin's pain had already moved past grief. It had found a new address. It was living now in a dark, quiet place inside him, feeding itself, growing heavier every single day. On the battlefield, though, he was extraordinary. The Republic's generals noticed immediately. Anakin fought with a ferocity that went beyond training, beyond tactics. He took risks no cautious Jedi would ever take, and somehow, he kept winning. Soldiers followed him without question. They called him fearless. What they didn't call him not yet was dangerous. Back on Coruscant, one man watched all of this very carefully. Chancellor Palpatine invited Anakin to dinner. Not an official meeting, not a briefing, just dinner. Quiet, private, warm. "You carry too much alone, my boy," he said softly. And for the first time since Geonosis, Anakin didn't feel alone. That was the moment the trap began to close. The Chancellor's private dining room smells of warm food and candlelight. No protocols. No formalities. No Jedi watching from the corner. Just Palpatine and Anakin. Again, it had become a routine now. Twice a week. Sometimes 3 times. After missions. After council meetings. After the nights when Anakin couldn't sleep and the temple felt too quiet and too cold and too full of Obi-Wan's absence, Palpatine always had time for him. "The council sees your power and fears it," the Chancellor said one evening, his voice low and easy. "I see it, and I am grateful for it." Anakin said nothing, but he didn't argue either. That was new. 6 months ago, he would have defended the council instinctively. Obi-Wan had taught him that. Loyalty, trust the order, believe in the structure. But Obi-Wan was gone, and the structure hadn't saved him. Palpatine was precise in his approach. He never pushed too hard, never revealed too much too soon. He simply listened. He remembered details, battles Anakin had fought, victories the Holonet barely covered, moments of doubt that Anakin had never shared with anyone else. The Chancellor made him feel seen, understood, valued in a way the Jedi Code never quite allowed. Behind temple walls, Master Yoda sensed the shift. He raised it quietly in council. The bond between Skywalker and Palpatine was irregular, concerning. Something to monitor. They decided to monitor it. They did not decide to stop it. That hesitation would cost them everything. Because while the council debated in careful, measured tones, Palpatine was already 3 steps ahead. He had stopped being Anakin's friend. Without Anakin even realizing it, he had become his master. Christophsis, Teth, Umbara, Ryloth. The battlefronts blurred together after a while. Anakin Skywalker moves through the Clone Wars like a storm that never quite passes. He is everywhere at once, leading ground assaults, pulling wounded clones out of burning gunships, cutting through separatist lines that experienced generals had already written off as unbreakable. His record is extraordinary. His methods are something else entirely. On Umbra, he makes a call that saves 3 battalions, but levels an entire civilian settlement to do it. The after-action report is filed quietly. Nobody asks too many questions. Wars have costs. Everyone knows that. On Ryloth, he executes a separatist commander in front of his own troops after the battle is already won. He was going to escape, Anakin tells the debrief panel flatly. Nobody pushes back. Because the truth is, the Republic needs him, desperately. Without Obi-Wan, without that particular kind of steady Jedi leadership, the war effort has a gap that no one else can fill. And Anakin fills it with raw, relentless, frightening ability. The clones call him the Untouchable. They say it with admiration. They don't notice the edge underneath it. But Padme notices. She watches the holonet reports with growing dread. She sees the way his eyes look in interview footage, flat, distant, like something behind them has quietly switched off. At night, when he comes home between campaigns, he holds her too tightly, like he is afraid she will dissolve if he lets go. "I'm fine," he tells her, every single time. She stops asking. Back on the front lines, Anakin volunteers for the most dangerous assignment of the war yet. He doesn't wait for council approval. He doesn't even tell them. She finds the recordings by accident, hidden in a secure partition on his personal datapad. Hours of footage, security feeds from their apartment, trackers quietly embedded in her Senate travel schedule, a private file updating her location. Every single day, Padme sits with the datapad in her hands for a long time. She doesn't move. She doesn't call anyone. She just sits there in the silence of their Coruscant apartment and feels the floor shift beneath her. When Anakin returns from the front that evening, she confronts him directly. Quietly, the way she handles everything measured, composed, looking straight at him. He doesn't deny it. "I almost lost you once," he says. His voice is low, completely steady. "I won't let that happen again." "Anakin, this isn't protection. This is me making sure you're safe." The conversation ends there. Not with anger, not with shouting. Just with that quiet, immovable certainty in his eyes that leaves no room for argument. That certainty terrifies her more than any raised voice ever could. She confides in Senator Bail Organa the following week. Carefully, without specifics. Bail listens with the controlled expression of a man choosing every word before he speaks. He tells her to be careful. She already knows that. What Padme doesn't know, what she cannot see, is that Anakin has begun having visions. Dark ones. The same dream, repeating. Her face, pain, loss. A darkness swallowing everything he loves. He tells Palpatine about the visions. He does not tell the council. And Palpatine listens with perfect, practiced sympathy, leaning forward just slightly in his chair. "There are ways," the Chancellor says softly, "to prevent the things we fear most." Anakin looks up slowly, and this time, he doesn't look away. It happens on a night when the city never sleeps. Coruscant glitters 1,000 meters below the Chancellor's window. Palpatine stands with his hands clasped behind his back, looking out at all of it calm, patient, inevitable. Anakin stands behind him. He came because of the visions, 3 nights running. Padme's face, darkness. A cold that wakes him up, gasping every time. "You already know what I am going to tell you," Palpatine says quietly. He doesn't turn around. Anakin says nothing. "You have known for some time, haven't you? It isn't a question. The silence stretches between them, long and heavy. Anakin's jaw tightens. His hands close into fists at his sides. The Force hums around him, dark and electric and waiting. "You're a Sith," Anakin says finally, flat, controlled. "I am the only man in the galaxy," Palpatine replies, turning slowly. "Who can save her?" In the original timeline, Obi-Wan's timeline, this moment comes later, when Anakin is more conflicted, more torn, when there is still a thread of light strong enough to pull on. But this is not that timeline. In this one, the thread snapped on the sands of Geonosis. Anakin stands there for a long moment. The Jedi he was trained to be wars silently against the man. Grief and fear and loneliness have built in his place. It isn't even close. He sinks to one knee, slowly, deliberately, like a man who has already made peace with what he is choosing. "What do I need to do?" he says quietly. Palpatine places a hand on his shoulder. Outside, the city blazes with a million lights. None of them see what just died in that room. The signal goes out at midnight. 2 words embedded in a clone command frequency so routine that no one flags it. No one questions it. No one even pauses. Order 66. Across the galaxy on 100 battlefronts, in a dozen star systems, clone troopers stop what they are doing. They turn, and they open fire on the Jedi standing beside them. No hesitation, no warning, no mercy. In the original timeline, scattered survivors managed to run, to hide, to reach out across the Force and warn each other. Obi-Wan Kenobi had moved fast enough to matter, fast enough to save at least the idea that the Jedi could survive. But Obi-Wan is not here. And the difference is catastrophic. Master Yoda feels the deaths ripple through the Force like a wave of ice. One after another, each one a light going out. He reaches for familiar presences, instinctively, the ones who might fight back, might run, might find a way. Most are already gone, before he finishes the thought. At the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, it is Anakin himself who leads the assault. No conflict, no hesitation, no last-minute fracture of loyalty. He walks through those familiar halls with his lightsaber already lit. He knows every corridor, every chamber, every hiding place. He trained in this building for years. He knows exactly where the younglings go when the temple is under attack. He goes there first. The temple burns through the night. By dawn, the smoke is visible from the Senate district. Senators stand at their windows and watch it rising. Nobody speaks, nobody moves. Master Yoda escapes barely, alone, with nothing. In his chest, where the Force once sang with 1,000 living voices, there is almost only silence now. Palpatine declares the Empire on a Tuesday. The Senate chamber erupts in applause. Senators who should know better stand and cheer with genuine relief, grateful the war is over, grateful for order, grateful for the man at the podium, who promises safety and stability, and a galaxy that finally makes sense again. None of them look at the figure standing quietly to the left of the Chancellor's podium. Tall, still, dressed in black. No mask, no respirator, no scarred flesh hidden beneath cold armor. Just Anakin Skywalker's face, calm as stone. Eyes that have already seen everything and decided it was all worth it. Darth Vader, whole, unbroken, at the absolute peak of his power. In the weeks that follow, the difference becomes terrifyingly clear. The Vader of the original timeline was formidable but constrained. His injuries had taken something irreplaceable from his connection to the Force, slowed him, capped him, left him perpetually operating below his true potential. This Vader has no such ceiling. He moves through the early rebellion cells like a blade through smoke. Effortless, precise. He doesn't just defeat resistance, he anticipates it. He feels it forming through the Force before it organizes, before it even has a name. 3 rebel networks are dismantled in the first 4 months of the Empire. No survivors, no warnings, no trails left cold enough to follow. The Senate grows quiet, then quieter still. Bail Organa watches from his office window one evening as an Imperial Star Destroyer holds position above Coruscant's skyline. He thinks about Padme, about what she tried to tell him years ago, on a careful afternoon when she was already frightened. He thinks about the twins she carried, born in secret, hidden separately, protected by the only plan left, Hope so small it fits in the palm of your hand. But hope, nonetheless.